This is Freedom Global News.
President Muhammad Buhari to present 2023 budget to National Assembly on Friday. Striking universities unions accused of complicity.
Global News.
Kano High Court orders state government to provide interpreter to Chinese national accused of killing Onita. And on the foreign scene, Filipino journalist Percival Mabasa shot dead in Brazil attack.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Zahra Zanna. Today is the 4th of October, 2022. And now the news in full. President Muhammad Buhari will on Friday present the 19.76 trillion 2023 budget to the National Assembly in Abuja. The presentation will take place 10 a.m. at the temporary chamber of House of Representatives. The Director General Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabueze, had said the president will present the 2023 appropriation to the National Assembly in September. He had said the 2023 budget was prepared in tandem with extant federal government policies and guidelines as articulated in the 2023 Budget Call Circular and other relevant laws and regulations. Buhari had in December 2021 signed the 2022 appropriation bill into law with an aggregate expenditures of 17.127 trillion naira, an increase in 735.85 billion naira over the initial executive proposal for total expenditure of 16.391 trillion naira. As the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities enters its 8th month, President Muhammad Buhari said corruption in the education sector is undermining the federal government's investments. This was as he challenged the notion that the incessant strikes, especially by unions in tertiary education, often indicate gross underfunding, saying those who go on prolonged strikes on flimsy reasons are no less complicit. Buhari was speaking at the 4th National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector held at the State House, Abuja, today. Speaking further, Buhari said money dispersed to the Ministry of Education alone constitute only a fraction of the government's total commitment to the sector. Therefore, he called on pundits to widen their scope to include allocations to the Universal Basic Education, transfers to TET Fund, and refunds from the Education Tax Pool account to TET Fund, etc. He also noted that corruption in the expenditure of internally generated revenue of tertiary institutions had not received due attention from stakeholders. Therefore, he urged stakeholders to advocate transparency in the IGRs of educational institutions and how such funds are expended. Meanwhile, in a bid to weaken the influence of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the federal government today registered 2 unions in the university system. The unions are the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics and the Congress of Nigerian University Academics. The Minister of Labor and Productivity, Chris Ngige, who spoke while presenting the certificates of registration to the 2 unions, explained that the 2 bodies will exist alongside ASU. And on sports, the newly elected president of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, has said his administration will do everything possible to unite football stakeholders in the country and record success, as this is what Nigerians want. Muhammad Sani Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
Ibrahim Musa Gusau stated this while addressing journalists in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, after his emergence as the president of the Nigeria Football Federation on September 30. Gusau was received by supporters and lovers of sport in his hometown Gusau yesterday, said he is happy being home after a victorious outing in Benin State, Edo State, where he was elected the NFF president. He called on football stakeholders in the country to join hands with him to move the game of football forward. The National Leadership of Sport Writers Association of Nigeria Nigeria SWAN has approved the setting up of a 5-man electoral committee to conduct elections at the expiration of the tenure of the current National Executive Committee. The body also congratulated the new president of Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, and his executive members following their elections on Friday in Benin City, Edo State. According to the communique released, SWAN National Electoral Committee will be headed by a former deputy national president of the association, Sonu Ogele, with the chairman of Bayelsa State Chapter, Datonyo Fred Alambo, as the secretary, while Azaya Benjamin, Ikenna Okonko, and Emmanuel Naji will serve as members. In another update, former Nigeria captain John Mikel Obi says picking Chelsea over Manchester United in a highly controversial transfer in 2006 was the best decision of his career. The midfielder, who retired last week at the age of 35, was the subject of a bitter dispute between the Red Devils and the Blues in 2005 before signing for the latter the following year. Mikel Obi became one of the club's most decorated players, winning the Champions League, Europa League, 2 Premier Leagues, 2 League Cups, and 4 FA Cups in an 11-year spell, which ended when he left Stamford Bridge in 2017. And on tennis, lawyers for Australian tennis star Nick Kyrgios have said they will apply to have an assault charge against him dismissed on mental health grounds. Kyrgios, who is currently playing in the Japan Open in Tokyo, was not required to attend the hearing in Cambodia today. The charge against the 27-year-old relate to an alleged assault in December 2021 on a former girlfriend. Muhammad Sanuba, Freedom Radio.
Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com, or call us through this number, 082 444163. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. A Kano State High Court today ordered the state government to provide an interpreter for a Chinese national, Ken Kwarong, aged 47, charged with the alleged murder of his Nigerian girlfriend, Kulsum Sani Umita. The defendant is facing a count charge of culpable homicide, contrary to Section 221 of the Penal Code. When the case came up for rearrangement, the defense counsel, Muhammad Dang Azmi, urged the court to provide an interpreter for his client, relying on Section 36(6)(a), B, C of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
He is entitled to an interpreter without payment to be provided by the state, which actually is the application we made before the court, and the court granted that. So the arraignment cannot hold. The trial starts with arraignment, and we cannot take any step in the trial. No matter how good it is, it will be a nullity once this fundamental breach is not cured.
The prosecution counsel, Kano State Attorney General Musa Abdullahi Lawan, told the court that he had directed the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, to write a letter to the Chinese embassy and Chinese community in Kano, requesting for an interpreter on behalf of the defendant.
Yes, slated for arraignment today, but the issue of interpreter was raised, which is a constitutional issue. And in any case, after the last adjournment, we wrote a letter to the Chinese embassy requesting for an interpreter because we expected this to happen. I'm sure they will do that. In fact, that is why we adjourned the matter for at least 3 weeks.
Correspondent Amina Abdubakar Doma reports that the defendant was asked if he understands the English language, and he said no. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has requested the State House of Assembly to vet and confirm Malam Usman Waziri Kiru to appoint him as the Commissioner 1 in the Pension Board. The governor requested this in a letter he sent to the House, which was read by the Speaker, Engineer Hamisu Ibrahim Chidari, during today's plenary session. After reading the letter, Engineer Hamisu Ibrahim handed over the letter to the Chairman House Committee on Pension, Alhaji Ayuba Labaran Durham, representing Kabo local government, for assessment and submission of a report. Also in today's session, the Speaker of the House read a similar letter from the governor, where in the second, he demanded that the House approved Malam Rabi Yusuf Kezawa, whom the governor wants to appoint as a permanent commissioner, and Muhammad Bashir as a commissioner, both in the Kano State Anti-Corruption Commission. Correspondent Awad Hassan Fagir reported that the parliament has given the committee 1 week to submit its report. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, warned Nigerian government that it may spend nearly 100% of its revenue on debt servicing by 2026. Correspondent Haider Aliu Isa reports.
The International Monetary Fund said the Nigerian government may spend nearly 100% on its revenue on debt servicing by 2026. The IMF had warned in March this year that the debt was 41.60 trillion, but in June the debt rose to 42.84 trillion, where the fuel subsidy is averaging 500 billion monthly. It said the total expenditure on subsidy could hit a record 6 trillion by the end of 2022. Freedom Radio interviewed some Kano residents on their opinion on the debt acquired by the federal government.
If you borrow the money, let other people see what they did with the money. Only we are hearing that they have borrowed so amount. We don't say anything what they borrow use the money for.
Well, the issue of debt in my country, Nigeria, have no any positive impact because we rely on mono-economic system. We have no any other means of generating money to earn something or to pay back what we have collected. We don't normally look at what we call cost-benefit investment, which not doing that resulted falling down of our GDP. So in my own opinion, I see no reason why we will be having debts in my dear country, Nigeria.
Dr. Isa Abdullahi, an economist and a lecturer at the Federal University, Kashere, Gombe State, explains the implication of the debt.
If he could borrow a loan, either in cash or in kind, that will make him to expand his business, will make him to be steadfast and firm on the business, in such a way that he could borrow the money or the equipment or facilities to boost that business, so that he could structure the repayment system in such a way that if he borrows 1 million naira, for instance, to boost his business and to be paid in 5 years' time, that's to say every 1 year he has to make a repayment of 200,000 naira to his creditor.
A lecturer at the Department of Political Science, Bayer University, Kano, and a political analyst, Dr. Saidu Ahmad Dukawa, said that the debt may affect the country in various ways.
The implications of indebtedness are far and wide. In addition to the economic dependence, a lot of what you do normally goes into debt servicing. Whatever you earn, and even taxes from the people, most of it goes into debt servicing. Indebtedness makes you to be politically loyal, so you end up taking instruct until and unless we have the right political leadership that will do the right thing.
According to experts, only time will reveal how long the federal government will take to settle the debts, consuming its revenue without putting the country and its citizens at risk. Haider Aliu Isa, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, media groups and press freedom activists in the Philippines have condemned the killing of journalist Percival Mabasa, who was fatally shot near his home in the country's capital. Amina Mukhtar Yakase reports.
The 63-year-old broadcaster, who was also known as Petty Lapid, was killed by two assailants on a motorcycle at the gate of a residential compound in the Las Piñas area of suburban Manila on Monday night, police said today. In a statement, the National Union of Journalists in the Philippines said Mabasa's killing showed that journalism remains a dangerous profession in the country. There was no immediate comment by the government, while police pledged to hold the perpetrators to account. Meanwhile, 13 young women who were abducted by unknown people in the Zambia have been rescued months after they disappeared. The women, aged between 17 and 28, including a mobile money booth operator who became the face of the abductees after a video in which he appeared being beaten with a metal rod while pleading for mercy went viral about 6 months ago. In a statement, Inspector General of Police Lemi Kajoba said that all the victims were taken to a medical facility. He said they had arrested a suspect who was helping police with the investigations. Amina Mukhtar Yakase, Freedom Radio.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's global news. But before we leave, headlines of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari to present 2023 budget of National Assembly on Friday. Striking universities, unions accused of complicity. Kano High Court orders government to provide interpreter to Chinese national accused of killing a meter. And on the foreign scene, Filipino journalist Percival Mabasa shot dead in brazen attack. On behalf of the entire production team and I, Zahra Zanna, thank you for listening.